Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob, and today we're going to make a lug nut. This here is a lug bolt out of a travel trailer. The same guy that I'm making the meat grinder for. Uh, Somehow they lost their four lug nuts, and the only ones he's got are the right-handed thread nuts or bolts. So I got to make him four of these because the industry seems to think that this one bolt is worth anywhere from $24 to $30 for one, and that's a used one. So I just went ahead and bought some hex stock to make a set, and these are left-handed threads, not right-handed. This one's right-handed, but let's see what the measurement is. I know what the measurement is, but I don't know it right offhand. Uh, the hex stock that I'm using is 13/16. So that'll work. So I went and got some 13/16 hex stock, and I've got it chucked up in the lathe here. I'll show you what I've got. Now I'm only going to make one on video. The rest of them will be done off video, but we're going to basically make this four of these. So what I need to do to start off with is I got to turn the threaded part down and get the threaded part straight and the same width as the outside of these threads. So we've got to turn it down to about 12.5 millimeter. So it's 12.56 is what I've got here. So we've got to turn those down, and it's only about 22 millimeter. And then the rest of it will be a shank coming off of the side of it, about half of what's left over. So I got to set my compound up for that angle, and I'm probably going to go in this direction so that I'm feeding in that direction, and hope it don't cause me problems when I get back here closer to the chuck. So but I got to get the angle figured out, which I'm not sure what that angle is, but I'll have it figured out. So the first thing we're going to do is, we're going to do this one at a time. I'll get this one cut, then I'll get it threaded, and then I'll take and cut it off with the bandsaw, and then bring it back over here, put the threads in the chuck, and then we'll face it off and chamfer the corners. So the first thing we need to do is cut the threads. And we got our new tap or die, and this is half 13 left-handed threads. So let me get my tool set up and we'll be back. All right, so now we've got that on there, or cut. That'll work. Opposite thread. So now I'll just probably take this over and cut it, and then rechuck it up and do the next one. So let's go ahead and saw that. Now, because of the operation that I have to just follow, I had to put a live center, or center in it, so every one of them's going to have a hole in the end of it. So there ain't no getting around that. The reason being is because it's such a long piece of stock, and I don't want to work with such a small piece of stock. So that worked out pretty nice. The only thing that was the problem was when I went to thread it, once it got past this, it started trying to move it into chuck. So the live center helps, as you've seen, to straighten them threads back up. And then I'll stamp on the top of it once I'm done, LH. So now we've got that cut. Now all we got to do is face it and chamfer them corners. So we'll stick that in the lathe and do that. Alright, so now let's stick this in here. And I'm going to use this to do the facing. And there we have a lug nut. Doesn't matter if it's got a hole in it, but there it is. Looks pretty much the same. I mean, there's a little bit of a difference, but that don't matter if it's a little heavier. We're going to make them all the same as this one. So I could have probably faced that off a little bit more, but that'll work. Wouldn't hurt to have it a little deeper anyway, wider here. So there's my left-handed stud. Never leave your chuck key in your chuck, never. So I'm going to stamp this LH for left hand, and I'll move on to the next one. And so let's go over to the vise. Alright, so now we've got our L and our H. So let's go ahead and do the L. And then let's do our H. So I put a little dent in the side of it, but that's not a big deal. Jaws of the vise made a dent in it. But there we have left hand thread wheel stud. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. And when you can't afford to pay that much for one lug nut at $24, that's crazy. So that's how you take care of that problem. And it cost me somewhere around about that price to make 4 of them, and plus have some leftover stock to do something else somewhere down the road, maybe make a lug nut. So but there's the boat. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. And we're waiting on parts for the grinder. Waiting on the nylon to make the nylon bushing out of. And once we get it, we'll get back on that. So you guys have a good one. Later.